Welcome back. Democrats are vowing to appeal this morning after a federal judge in Texas ruled that Obamacare is unconstitutional. President Trump celebrating the decision, which came in response to a lawsuit from more than a dozen states. Let me bring in Democratic Congressman from Ohio, Tim Ryan. He serves on the House Appropriations Committee. And Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So your reaction to this ruling, obviously it's going to go to the Supreme Court. Question is, does the Supreme Court rule the same way as this federal judge? And are you and your colleagues going to be able to come up with a new health care plan for America in the new Congress?
Well, I'm very concerned about it. I represent an area, Maria, that has a lot of people that work really hard, put in 40, 50 hours a week and still can't afford health care. And for us to lose any kind of universality or help to give these families for health care, I think is a mistake for our country. It allows us to be healthy, competitive. It's helped business in a lot of ways. So I think, this is a mistake by the court, and I don't quite understand it because they're talking about the individual mandate, which in many, many states, there's an individual mandate for car insurance. That's something that has been done all over the country to say, we know you're going to get in a car accident, so you need car insurance. You know you're going to get sick, so you should have to get health insurance, and if you can't afford it, we should help pay.
Well, do you think that there is any overlap in terms of commonality between the Republicans and the Democrats to come up with a new bill, new legislation in the new Congress to actually create the right health care plan for Americans?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just, the Republicans have voted 60 or 70 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act. So I think it would throw the health care system into a tailspin. I think a lot of people with regard to pre-existing condition, and again, these are people who are working. They're working hard. They're doing everything right, and their kids need health care. I would hope we could come together. We used to be able to. Mitt Romney passed it in Massachusetts. The plan, ultimately, the Affordable Care Act plan, was really a Republican plan back in the day, and I hope we can come together and say every American in this wealthy country should be able to have health insurance for their kids and their families.
Well, there's an impasse here, and now here we are facing another impasse this upcoming week. You're on the Appropriations Committee. What are you expecting in terms of a partial government shutdown? It looks like we're going to see it. How are we impacted?
Yeah. Well, I think over the holidays it'll come down to, national parks and federal workers, which I think we could fix once we get a new government in January. So I think the impact won't be huge, to be quite honest with you. But again, it's a sign of the dysfunction in Washington. We've got to figure out how to come together here around some basic budgets. I mean, we believe in border security. I believe in border security. We have technologies today that are far surpass a wall. I mean, This is not the 15th century. So let's invest into the technologies and the Border Patrol agents, the manpower we would need to secure our border. And then let's find a deal on immigration reform, letting these kids, the DACA kids, into the country, making sure that businesses have E-Verify so that they're not letting in illegal immigrants and then hiring them so they could keep low-wage workers in the country. And let's find a pathway for people to pay a fine, pay their back taxes, learn English if they don't already know it, and come into the country in the next 6-7 years and start paying taxes and contributing to Social Security and Medicare and the economy and all of these things. That's a good deal for everybody.
Right. And this sounds very practical, Congressman, and you are always very practical and moderate. 40 Democrats, many of your colleagues, sent a letter to the leadership saying, in the new Congress, we don't want all these investigations. We want legislation. We want to work for the American people. I assume you're one of them.
Well, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We have Article 1 of the Constitution gives us oversight responsibilities of the executive branch. We don't have a king in the United States. We're run by the people. We're run by the Congress. And we have those responsibilities that we have to execute. My focus is on the economic well-being of the people of this country. And that means health care, wages, pensions, reinvesting back into the country. And your last segment about China, we've got to become more competitive. China is coming at us economically.
Right.
We've got to invest into research, invest into these new growing areas of the economy, and we need to dominate them economically. And that takes a plan. It can't be run by Twitter. It's got to be done with a long-term plan that we execute, and that needs to be the focus of the Congress movement forward. We got people still losing their pensions, still losing their health care, and still working hard playing by the rules and not getting ahead. And we've got to reestablish that social compact between corporations and workers and the government and the people.
Yeah, which is including the layoffs that we just heard about in Ohio, your state, because GM is closing a plant.